Welcome to Tropicana Lanes, where tonight the Bearcats of McKendree go for back-to-back NCAA bowling championships. Their opponent, the Commodores of Vanderbilt.
We're all set to go, and it will be Sarah Willie to lead things off for McKendree. That's a good start.
Absolutely great start. I don't know if anybody saw that, but she was getting ready to get on the lanes, and then she stepped back a little bit. They had to wait a minute, and you could see Shannon talking to her, saying, put your ball down, refocus, and look at that. Great way to start the game.
Sam Gaynor, a little high, and she leaves the 6-10. For Coach Williamson, it's a game-time decision for him between Sam Gaynor and Jordan Newham, and we might see Jordan a little bit later on in the show, depending on how things go.
Exactly. Both girls were bowling pretty well over the weekend, so it really was a toss-up, and that's why they waited to the last minute. So at least they know they have somebody else they can go to.
Big baseball fan, big Tigers fan from Michigan. Okay. Able to get both the 6-10, and we start clean.
And, you know, she looked a little tentative on that, but, you know, again, new atmosphere for Vanderbilt. So great way to start the game, clean frame. That's what you're looking for.
You're right about the new atmosphere, the lights, the TV, all this. But these guys are used to it. Here's Taylor Bailey. She was around last year as a freshman. That one got wide, and it didn't quite come back. A sleeper back there.
Definitely got that a little bit further right, especially down lane. The pattern has, you know, the lanes are going through a little bit of transition. Girls have been practicing for a little bit. The interesting thing is, too, as they bowled on the transition, the girls moved deeper and deeper. What I noticed while both teams practiced before the show, everybody tried to stay further right to try to calm down that transition.
Now Kristen Kwa, the junior from Singapore. That's also going to go high, but she got the Brooklyn strike.
Hey, in sports, you don't have to be perfect. You need a little bit of luck, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good spare. That'll settle your nerves a little bit. And now Lauren Pate, a junior out of Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota.
Fantastic shot, just a bad break. One thing you're going to notice with both of these teams, especially coming from Shannon O'Keefe, who's a fantastic athlete, as well as Josie Barnes, all of these players rock solid on their fundamentals. I mean, it is just right leverage into the line, just really great fundamentals.
Now, Emily Rigney, the sophomore from Australia. And now Pate. Just go for the one. Get the pin count early in the game. You have plenty of time to recover. And a baby split over here for Rigney. Rigney's mom, Sharon McLeish, was a gold medalist for the Australian national team. And her dad, Dennis, was the coach of that team. And we were asking Coach Williamson how he discovered Emily, and he said he was in Hong Kong. And nope. Can't convert the split, so we're basically even again. A couple of open frames in the third. And now another senior expecting to go out onto the Pro Tour once she graduates, Jessica Malott. That's good. That'll get him back on track.
Fantastic shot again. Team opens up. Here's the example. Here's the example of the Baker format. Frame before, bad break, 4-9. You need your next bowler to make a good quality shot and pump that team back up.
That's exactly what Katie Stark does for Vanderbilt. So the two seniors for their respective teams come through in the fourth frame. And now we're up to the anchor bowlers. This is Brianna Clemmer. We talked about her in the open. She has sort of an unusual approach in that her left arm, she sticks it out for balance. But it's effective.
Definitely, you know, something that's unconventional. But boy, if you can do it, look at that.
Through the nose and leaves the 3-6-10.
It's actually a good practice drill. Not saying you have to bowl like that, but great practice drill for all the young bowlers that are watching this TV show and aspiring to be an NCAA bowler. Great drill.
Belanova right on target. And that's back-to-back strikes for the Commodores.
One of the higher rev players out of both teams, but very controlled, which is just nice to watch.
And missing the 3-pin, so another open frame for the Bearcats, and Vanderbilt has jumped out to a 23-pin lead through 5 frames. We'll be back to St. Louis in a moment. Sarah Willie crossing over. Well, she's had 2 frames and 2 strikes.
A little hard coming out of that commercial break. You got to make sure you keep up your ball speed. Looks like she was a little bit slow with it, but again, caught the break. Got to move on.
Gainer with a spare her first time out, leaving just the 3-pin. It seems like everybody's getting too high right now.
Just a little bit. She hits about 11 out to about 9, 8, 9 down lane. Just seems like she, you know, the other girls that seem to be getting it a little bit further right, maybe that 10-6, 12-7, seem to have a little bit of a better reaction. But again, this is a new environment. It's going to take a couple of frames to really get used to the lights and know that it's just one shot at a time.
Single pin spare, perfect. What do you move first? If you're going to make an adjustment, what do you move? Your feet first?
I do move my feet first. Yes, I do. Yes, and then I may play around with my eyes a little bit, and then it would, the third would be the feet and the eyes together.
A pretty good move there for Bailey, and leaves the 4.
Great shot by Taylor. Again, look at this at the foul line. You could see it really quickly, but again, lots of leverage going into that line. Ball gets smooth off the hand, a lot of rotation. Leaves the 4-pin.
Here's Qua. A little high, but it works. Kristen Qua, double major with a 3.95 GPA. Back to Bailey. Easy single pin spare.
And another great example of what all the high school bowlers can be watching at home. A lot of these girls, I'd say the majority of them, throw a ball that does not hook at their spares. They go a lot straighter at their spares, takes the lane out of play, makes them much more accurate.
What do you think some of the keys are for Vanderbilt?
Well, when speaking to Josie, was get comfortable quick, read those lanes, stay focused, tuned into what they are doing. And of course, the other one, like everybody says, we want to have a little fun. But again, it is a championship. Sometimes it is hard to, you know, have that fun at that time.
Rigney. Oh, was that pretty? And from McKendree, the Bearcats, what do they have to do to defend?
For the Bearcats, we talked about staying in the moment. Shannon O'Keefe's one of the best at that. Stay connected, stay as a unit. Do not let everything around you get into your head. And again, have fun.
Well, trying to double up here. And there is the double. That sets up the 10th frame.
Fantastic shot. I mean, those girls are really breaking the lane down where they are all consistent in the pocket. And obviously, even though you're on the right lane for Vanderbilt, they should be watching what McKendree's doing and vice versa for McKendree. Have to watch what the other team is doing in regard to the ball motion.
Katie Stark trying to put the hammer down here. And that'll do it. Wow, how about that?
2 light hits for Katie, but both of them getting that 10 off the deck last minute. Watch this light hit, but 4 pins together to get that 10 pin off the deck.
Remind you that this is a best of 7. So this is game 1 of 7, possibly 7. Boy, was that solid from Clemmer.
Stepping up on that approach, knowing that she needed the strike to stay in this match.
Four straight for Vanderbilt.
Best way to lock up that first game, going high flush. No nerves there.
It's like both teams getting warmed up now. Some of the early jitters are gone. There's another one. It'll be too little too late for the Bearcats as the Commodores finish strong.
It'll be interesting to see the moves that both of these teams make, because the girls are so talented. So they are breaking the lanes down the right way. So their moves should be following each other.
That one a little bit high. Didn't need it, though, as Vanderbilt takes game 1 here against the defending champion Bearcats of McKendree. We'll give you the score when we come back. Vanderbilt taking game 1. You talk about them getting settled in early. Well, that's got to help with the nerves quite a bit, as Vanderbilt able to take this game 1. The Bearcats trying to close out with 3 straight strikes here in the 10th. And you get tapped on the 9 pin, but still a great finish for Clemmer, but not enough as the Commodores take game 1. We'll be back with game 2 of this best of 7 in just a moment from Tropicana Lanes. It'll be Vanderbilt to start things off in game 2 with Sam Gaynor.
And this is key. They've switched lanes, so your leadoff bowler, this is a very important position on the team, because they're the ones that are going to give you the feedback on what they think the lanes are doing.
Pretty good shot. Sam has been solid so far in that leadoff position. A couple of spares in her first 2 frames. And now Sarah Willie. She's been really good. 2 strikes so far. That was a good shot.
Well, that actually is kind of unique, right? Stone 9, Stone 9, both really great shots. So both teams now, off of those shots, though, can get a good read on how to play the lanes, whether they have to move or not.
They all use different balls when going for the spares.
Right. Like I said, most of the girls do use a plastic ball or a ball that does not hook as much, flatten it out, make it a little more end over end, which basically takes the lane out of play. Hey, look, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? And that's basically what they can do. So The other thing is both of those shots. Now you'll see the girls come back off the lane, as you can see it from here. We can from the booth, but they're chit-chatting now about what their shot, what they did on the lanes, what the shot did, so they can give them some feedback.
Now Kristen Qua. Kristen with 2 strikes in that first game. Make it 3 in a row.
Fantastic shot. I remember bowling with her. I crossed with her at the USBC Queens one year. And she came over with her mom maybe 4 years ago. I can't even remember. And she looked so young. And she was so good. And she was so nice.
And smart.
She was very smart, and she bowled really well.
There's a good shot. Taylor Bailey with a strike. Things really heating up now between these two. I think, you know, in that first 5 frames, everybody's rolling for the first time under the lights, under the pressure, under the TV and all that. Now they're just bowling. Here's Emily Rigney. How much of an advantage it is for the Commodores to have the 2 lefties go back-to-back?
I was just going to say, this weekend, the left tended to play a little bit better than the right at times. Why? Less play. Okay, there's less lefties, less play. So they didn't see as much transition, and they were able to play the lanes similar throughout the weekend. I think that's been one of the key components to Vanderbilt's success.
Lauren Pate.
Moving a little bit further right, going a little bit straighter, keeping up her ball speed. Again, McKendree, very versatile.
Well, let's see if Vanderbilt can make it 3 in a row. Whoa, Katie Stark fell down. Did she cross the foul line?
She did, I think. Make sure she's okay, though.
She threw a strike, but I think that was a foul.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, she did. That's
She
a foul, so
she
that
caught
doesn't
herself,
count, which
yeah.
means she gets 0.
Oh, wow. Her
Oh,
foot just stopped.
Just stuck. So that means they reset the pins, and she'll be bowling, in essence, for a spare with all 10 showing. Big break from McKendree, and they take advantage. Boy, Jessica has been great. And now you have to recover from that if you're Katie Stark. You know, the one good thing for Katie is she has thrown 2 strikes, actually 3. If she hadn't fouled, it would have been another strike. But that really hurts 2 things. They were working already on a double, so that really hurts their pin count. Oh, almost came back with a spare, but leaves that 7 pin. Tough break for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but that shows a lot. She made a great shot, but she also looked on this one here. She made a great shot, left the 7 pin, but if you could see, it looked as if her foot stopped a little bit short there too. So she may be in the back there checking her soles and heels just to see that she didn't step in something.
Now Maria Bolanova from Russia. She said the first 2 months on campus, she just was silent, listening and trying to learn the language. You know, there's almost a quietness here after Katie Stark fell down, as if somebody got hurt.
Well, you know, the girls are, even though you're competitors, it's a close-knit family. The one great thing about the sport of bowling is the bowling community comes to help everyone. So, you know, they don't want to see anybody get injured.
Clemmer to try to make it 4 in a row. It's too high. And leaves the 3-6-10.
Definitely got around that one and also missed her target way to the left. You can see much straighter through the front. When she was on the left lane, she was getting her ball to the right about that 8-9 down lane. Also, the two the first and second bowler for McKendree are playing the lanes a little bit straighter, so she may even try to do that, parallel everything to the right.
Boy, through all of this, through that foul and everything. Nope, slid by the 3 in an open frame. And now for McKendree.
She's done that twice, yeah.
So the Bearcats hand the break back to the Commodores. And now Sarah Willie. Boy, she's been good in that leadoff role.
She has been absolutely rock solid in that leadoff position. Again, she has a great personality too. As soon as she comes off the lanes, she is chit-chatting and high-fiving, letting them know what's going on. And that's the type of person you need in that leadoff position.
All right, get the pin.
Very important on the split, especially when you're on a spare. Strike doesn't matter. Always get the wood because games are, you know, won and lost by one or two pins.
Taylor Bailey, she had a strike her last time up on this lane. And Kristen Quah. Looks like, who's going to go here? Looks like Kristen's going to step up. Lucky to get out of that with just the 6.
Definitely didn't get that as far right as she's been getting it. You know, she needs a little bit of angle, definitely gets around the ball a lot more. And going back to what you said about these girls that are coming from Singapore and Russia, that's proof in how strong the international bowlers have gotten over the years. They've caught up to the American bowlers and now are here in the United States getting their education.
Taylor Bailey putting the hammer down with back-to-back strikes for the Bearcats. She is as good at single pin spares as anyone in the country. You know, right now we have McKendree with 107 in the 5th, working on strikes in the 6th and 7th frames. And right now for Vandy, 95 in the 6th, working on a spare in the 7th. Our little scoreboard that we normally show you is malfunctioning because of the foul earlier. And so we're trying to get that score adjusted, but we can tell you right now McKendree in the driver's seat here in game 2 after losing game 1. Now Lauren Pate. 3 in a row, you betcha. There's the turkey for the Bearcats.
Lauren, another bowler who has been just rock solid, playing the lanes that suit her game the best, a little bit straighter, harder, but yet just rolls it off her hand.
I love how they all stand off to the side, and then as soon as it releases, they all go in. It's like someone who's lining up that putt.
Correct.
You don't want to stand right behind them, and then you move in to see which way is it breaking. So the spare for Vanderbilt in the 8th frame.
Katie checking the approach before she gets up there. Talking about spare shooting, you're witnessing two teams that spend a lot of time on spare drills. They may have a practice session where they do nothing but shoot at spares. Don't throw any strike balls. Again, another great tip for everybody who's watching. Spares are just as important, if not more.
Yeah, good bounce back for Katie Stark here with a strike.
That's her best hit. That ball comes in just a little bit light, mixes the pins up, and just enough to knock that 10 off the deck.
Good for her. Jessica Malott going over. And we'll leave the 3-9. A sleeper back there that stops the string of 3 straight strikes, but still about a 40-pin lead right now for the Bearcats.
Definitely got around the side of that one just a little bit more than she had been. Misses left, gets over the top of it, so the ball was way left of target.
Well, to make sure the Commodores have no hope, this spare here is big for the Bearcats.
And she'll move left and try to make the spare off of her strike target.
It's good. What a good shot.
Not an easy spare to make.
No. You know, right now we've got McKendree with 185 in the 8th with a spare in the 9th. Vanderbilt with a strike in the 9th and a 134 total in the 8th. So it's a 51-pin lead for the Bearcats. But Vilanova really needed a strike out there in the 10th to have any hope, and we're going to be even at 1 match apiece. We'll watch through the 10th frame to get our final score.
And what I would do here is after she's done making the spare, I would make a move on that lane just to see what the ball motion is to give the girls some feedback for when they come back to that lane.
That's pretty good feedback. It looks like McKendree locked in right now. What a game for them. 2:05 through the 9th, working on that first strike in the 10th, so a 2:35 possible. And there's the spare. All right, you're bowling head-to-head with someone else. Their style is a little bit different than yours. How do you read what they're doing, and how do you make an adjustment for your game?
Does not matter how you throw the ball. It's where the ball hooks on the lane, that break point, into the pocket. So, for example, I'm a little more down and in. So what I would do is I would just look at, you know, Kristen or even Brianna. I just want to see where their ball is hooking at on the lane, and then I will match my game according to hitting that same break point. So I'd probably be a little bit further right, but we're still basically playing the lanes the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Really, I mean, you really can read ball motion off of other bowlers and then just incorporate it into how you throw the ball.
A 174 finish for Vanderbilt here in game 2.
She moved way in on that shot, and that looked great. Definitely a little bit deeper, 16 to about 12.
And a 235 for McKendree. So after 2 games, 1 game apiece. McKendree takes game 2. Sarah Willie again. That one got high, and she leaves herself the 4-6-7.
So looks like she got that one right just a little earlier. Ball picked up right here. She gets that right a little bit earlier than she had been. And again, we saw that also out of Brianna's shot. It went a little bit high. When the girls miss a little left and don't quite get it down the lane to that break point that we had been talking about, ball really is sharp off the back end of the pattern. I would actually think they would start migrating a little bit left and or taking their hand out of it just a little bit, not getting around it so much. A little bit more end over end, which would actually tame down that back end reaction, make it a little smoother.
Perfectly done. The 3-6-10 easily covered by Gaynor. She's been solid.
Picture perfect of the 3, 6, 10. Again, even on the spare shots, do you notice? Great leverage. Don't change anything from that first ball except for that the fact you have a spare ball in your hand and you're throwing a little bit flatter, but leverage, timing, everything still remains the same.
Now Taylor Bailey with McKendree coming off that open frame. I don't know if it's just coincidence, but so far here through 3 games or 2.5, we've seen higher scores on the right lane as opposed to the left.
I was thinking about that last frame, actually. It seems like everybody likes the right lane a little bit better and is in the pocket just a little more consistently.
Like that. Qua with her 4th strike of the night. Now Bailey will go after the 10 pin. I know for folks like you, this is easy. For amateurs like me, this one scares the daylights out of me.
Oh, the 10 pin?
Oh.
I'm at the point where every spare scares me. But
No, it doesn't.
they do say single pins are the easiest ones to make, though.
I know, except that 10. Good on the other singles. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and that's a good start for the Bearcats trying to come back here for Lauren Pate.
Lauren seems to be playing the left and right lane close to the same. Again, a little bit more behind it, not as much over the top of it. She's been able to smooth out that transition. Ball's reading the lane perfect.
Rigney crosses over and leaves an easy spare. They say the easiest of all of them, the 5 pin.
But when you're under the lights and you know that you have 9 other girls relying on you, I have to tell you, it's scary.
Sure. Folks like me have never bowled under any kind near this kind of pressure. Just league bowling.
Well, and this is a good example of too that mental game, where you don't make a good shot the first shot. You have to regroup.
Yeah.
Mentally prepare yourself to know that you need to make a good shot to make the spare.
When you go after the 5, do you throw your strike ball or do you go straight at it?
I throw my
ball.
strike ball.
I do too.
And hopefully the second time I hit my target, so I make it.
Yeah, right. That's right. Well, chance to pretty much make this match dead even with another strike here. Kind of bounced a little bit. Mixed it up, though. 4 strikes now for Mawat. Stark with 2 strikes this game. So it's all set up for a dramatic 10th frame.
Just as we were talking to both coaches, the left-handers are going to be key to setting up that 10th frame. And that was rock solid in the pocket, and the other ones have been light mixers. So once she gets both of them going, she could be dangerous.
Praying for a strike. Oh, it was a good shot by Klemmer.
Really good shot. Just gets down the lane a little bit further, leaves the flat 10. Flat 10, weak 10, whatever you'd like to call it, 10 pin.
That 6 pin just goes off into the channel and doesn't knock out the 10. Whoa. Got out too wide. Oh, and she's left herself a mess. The 5-8-10.
You'll see definitely got this one out to about the 6 board, 5-6 board. a little bit further down the lane, probably a little bit more ball speed. I mean, amped up a little bit. It was a big shot, but it is spareable.
So there's the mark for Klemmer, forcing Balanova to make this split. It all comes down to this one shot for Maria Balanova.
She needs to get 2, which forces McKendree to get good count. Giving it a run.
Oh. So she got the 8, but missed the 5-10. So 182 finish.
That's why I said if she got the 2.
Yeah. So it's 9 pins, right? 9 for the win. And that's all she needed. How about that? The split for Vanderbilt in the 10th, and McKendree comes back to take game 3. What a comeback for McKendree. And now they lead 2 games to 1 in the best of 7. We'll be back with game 4 in a moment. Vanderbilt has been such a consistent program through the years, started by John Williamson, club team 14 years ago, and now they've been to 13 straight NCAA championships, have won it once, and been runners-up twice. Willie, how many times has she started things off with a strike for McKendree? That's 5 strikes tonight.
That comes from experience. They've been in this position before. They're confident in the moves they're making, and they're executing their shots.
And there's a good mark by Gaynor. Again, don't want any open frames. That's one of the secrets, especially in the Baker format. I think it's even more important to make sure you fill frames in any other format. And both bowlers standing in the pit trying to figure out who's going to go next. It'll be Kristen Kwa. By the way, we talked about her having a double major. Yeah, they're easy majors like biomedical and electrical engineering.
I can't even. I can't even. Oh my gosh. I don't even have to spell biome, whatever you just said.
Right. It couldn't be like PE and communications. And there's a strike for Kwa. So a spare strike start for the Commodores.
You can see that Kristen, too. You could see on that shot, she pulls her eyes closer towards her as she's going towards the pocket. I see that out of a lot of the girls, drawing that line from their break point back, which is not easy for everybody to do because, you know, it does change your perception as you're going to the line, but another great drill to try when you're home practicing. Definitely moved way in, getting that ball way down lane, probably hit about the 5 board. Again, that 8-9 has been like the, what would you call it? I don't want to say out of bounds, but that's been the spot that seems to be the most consistent. Also, in talking with John from Kegel, he said, and the girls also said it, they seemed a little tighter. The lanes, both lanes, seemed a little bit tighter when they started. Definitely going through another transition, so we may see that bump left a little bit quicker than they did during the weekend.
So the oil is moving down there. What a good spare. That was absolutely perfect by Taylor Bailey. So we're all tied after 2 frames, although Vanderbilt has the slight edge with a strike in the second.
Moves right off of her strike target. Probably 3 or 4 left. and makes it picture perfect.
Emily Rigney to make it 2 in a row. Yes! She's taking a page out of Katie Stark's playbook with that mixer.
And looking at what the left side is doing, they don't seem to be moving much. Actually chasing it a little bit further right, using balls that are a little bit smoother on the back end. You may see that out of the right-handers.
Oh, is that perfect? Lauren Pate, she has been outstanding.
Lauren Pate, the one that's playing the lanes, probably the straightest, I could say. Ball is smooth. She's a little more end over end. And what I mean by that is her hand is underneath the ball a little bit longer than the other girls. Doesn't quite get around it, but has that smooth rotation right off her hand.
Katie Stark, 6 strikes tonight. You could really say 7. Remember, she had that strike, but was a foul on that one. So she has been in the parquet all night long. And all of a sudden, a 20-pin lead for Vanderbilt with a little pressure on Jessica Malott. Whoa. She did not foul and got 9 out of it. Kind of stuck up there, though.
Definitely didn't look happy after that shot, but I'm trying to see what happened. Oh, she definitely stuck. Her sole and heel did not move, but she stayed behind the line. And she put her hand on her back.
Yeah, she
I hope
kind
she
of tweaked
didn't.
her back
She
a little
did.
bit.
I would think so. She turned a little awkward there. Hope she's okay.
Okay, picks up the spare. So no harm, no foul.
No, but you know what I'm wondering? Because, you know, it's humid out there with the lights. So I wonder if the girls feel like it might be getting a little tacky where they may have to change their sole as they're going, or just make sure they rub their foot before they get on the approach.
That was a good shot by Balanova, but leaves that 10-pin.
A little late in the reaction there, leaving that ring 10, but great shot. She's made the move in, even deeper on that left lane. Good shot.
Klemmer. Looks good. It is good. Brianna Klemmer cuts into that lead a little bit. No problem for Balanova, the spare in the 5th frame. So Vanderbilt with strikes in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th frames take a 19-pin lead halfway through game 4. Samantha Gaynor brought it back, but still left the 10. You know, just a freshman Gaynor, well, she's got a bright future, doesn't she?
And she seems very confident when she gets up there. I mean, you just, you know, she looks like she is confident in what she's doing, the moves she's making. Yeah, she's got a long way to go, and she's got a great start.
Well, Willie knew it the moment it left her hand, like, look out. And she was able to cross over for the strike.
Definitely kept that one more in front of her.
It's sort of a mixed bag of emotions, isn't it? Oh,
Right.
good, I got the strike, but boy, how did I miss that badly?
Well, as they move left, it does seem that when they do, right now it seems like with the girls that are really getting around it, when they miss left, the ball has no chance of staying in the right side of the head pin. So that's what I'm saying, as they tend to make those moves to the left, they may want to go to balls that like I said, calm down the back end a little bit more, or change their hand a little bit where it's a little more end over end, where it's smoother on the back. It seems when they get it too far to the right, it doesn't read the pattern. And then when you get it in, there's no hold.
5 strikes for Kwa so far today. She has not had an open frame. Ooh. I hope that wasn't the announcer jinx. The 1-2-4-10. See, if it gets out that wide, it just doesn't come back.
That's what I'm saying. It's definitely transitioning, and sometimes my angle is not as good. And I was talking to John, it's the same thing. If they get it too far right down the lane, it doesn't read it. And if they miss a little left, just like this, she kept it a little bit more in front of her. Didn't look so bad, but then it just jumps right there at the end. So, again, there's a couple things you can do. And the girls did not use a lot of surface this week. Maybe that 1,000, 2,000. It really wasn't very light 1,000 too. They said not very much.
And technically not a split because the head pin was involved, but it's a tough shot. And she gets the 1-2-4, but leaves the 10 in an open frame. Her first open, by the way. Got a shot. Wow, what a shot!
Here you go with the spare ball, nice and straight. Shooting probably for the 7 pin. Nips that 4 pin and shoves it right into the 9. Great shot.
Won't you come home, Taylor Bailey? What a beautiful conversion. Well, another mixer for Emily Rigney.
Nice comeback shot for Vanderbilt. Sets up the 9th.
Lauren Tate goes right at it. Oof, got the 10 to trip out of there. She wastes no time at all.
I think that's the first time she's gone high, if I'm not mistaken,
I
or
think
close
right.
to it, yeah.
I think she and Clemmer have been, and a little bit of Willie, although Willie has a couple of Brooklyn strikes. Solid.
One thing you may not be able to see on TV or watching at home, a lot of the girls, when they grab their ball, whether it be for their first shot or their second, you see them take the deep breath, take it in, hold it for a second and let it go, calm that heart rate down.
I'm probably wrong, but Katie Stark, I think she has had a strike in every frame since that foul. And she keeps it up.
And there's that mixer.
That's 5 straight strikes for her after the foul.
And all of them were that light shaker, perfect ball roll for that hit right now, and only one was high flush. So she's got them both going.
And Shannon O'Keefe a little bit concerned. Great bowler herself. She'd probably rather be bowling than watching, right? It's a lot easier to be out there. Nope, Dan gets the 10 to go and leaves just the 4. The lead 7 pins now for Vandy.
Close to the same place where Pate is playing, but the ball, again, just coming up a little bit high. Time to make the move, or again, just take your hand out of it a little bit, tame it down. Doesn't look like it has to be a big move right now, but just a little to get off that, where it's just that 4-pin reaction.
So the spare in the 9th, the foundation frame, but Vanderbilt working on a double. And it comes to our anchor comparison again, and again, one open frame for Belanova, and unfortunately for her, it came in that 10th frame of the last game that cost them game 3. More strikes for Clemmer. Threw that one a little harder.
Much better shot.
Yeah, she really needed to strike out. And now it looks like Vanderbilt's going to take game 4 to even things up at 2 games apiece in this best of 7.
And this right lane seems like it's breaking down just a little bit. If you've noticed, the girls are starting to go a little bit high, where this was the lane where it was almost guiding it to the pocket, a little bit smoother to the pocket. So again, we're going to see a little bit of a transition, because the key to all of these girls, besides the fact they're all very good bowlers, they're going to play the lanes a little similar, so they will break down.
A little bit of a change here for John Williamson and Vanderbilt. With a game already in hand, he is going to allow Jordan Newham to step up and get involved, and there may be a lineup switch as we head into game 5. Well, if you're auditioning for a part for game 5, that's a pretty good start. So Jordan Newham from Aurora, Illinois, junior. The coach says she's just keeps everything simple, keeps everything in front of her. Gave it a little more room, and a 203 finish. And right now, Vanderbilt possible 233. And that's exactly what they get. So Vanderbilt wins game 4. That means we're down to a best of 3 now. We're tied 2 games apiece in the best of 7. 2018 NCAA Women's Bowling Championship. The all-important Game 5 coming up next. Welcome back to Tropicana Lanes in St. Louis, Missouri. Game 5, pretty much even halfway through this. We have seen some problems on the approach in this match so far. In fact, we saw Katie Stark actually fall down and get stuck, but she wasn't the only one. Look at these sticks. The only one that fouled, though, was Stark. And since then, we should say, Katie has been perfect with strikes in each and every frame since.
And the other girls have made great shots, too, by testing the approach, checking their shoes, just to make sure that they didn't step in something.
Sarah Willie. Another strike for the senior.
Sarah did try a different ball on her first shot. When she went to make the spare, she went back to this ball, which she used that spare as a guide for her strike ball. And there you have the adjustment.
3-pin lead for McKendree. Boy, good shot from Gaynor. Just leaving that 10-pin. Working off the open frame in the 5th. So for the moment, a 3-pin lead for McKendree in the 6th frame. To keep it there, Gaynor needs to get this mark. And she's got it. So a spare in the 6th versus the strike in the 6th for the Bearcats.
You can see them checking the approach.
Yeah.
Taylor
Bailey went up all the way to the approach before her shot and started sliding her foot just to make sure. Last time she stuck.
I would think the majority of girls are sliding in the same area. So it was smart of her to do that.
What a solid ball and a great approach, Taylor Bailey.
Nothing wrong with that. Right here.
Two in a row now for the Bearcats and a 13-pin lead. Now Qua. A little high. Got away with it. Only the 4-pin remains.
Still good shots. Right here, still keeping the ball a little bit more in front of her, not getting as far right.
You see her with
You
her
could see
hands
her
up
hands.
like, help.
A lot of these girls have so much axis rotation off their hand where, like I was saying, ball speed, you know, how they make their adjustments, maybe just increasing their ball speed a little bit, or again, backing off the hand just a little bit to change that reaction on the back end.
John Williamson called Kristen Qua the best spare shooter he's ever had. That was right on the 4, no problem. Well, let's see if the Bearcats can even open up more space. Here's Lauren Pate. It's good. Yes, sir. 7 strikes for Pate. And 3 in a row now for the Bearcats.
Again, I said this earlier, I believe Lauren has had the best look to the pocket, the most consistent, besides the left-handers, as one was on the approach.
Emily Rigney leaves the 7. Talking about how she was recruited to Vanderbilt. John Williamson was over in Hong Kong just scouting players. And he didn't know that Emily's dad, Dennis, was the coach of the Australian team. He just gave him one of his cards. Next thing, they got an email saying, hey, we'd like Emily to perhaps come over to Vanderbilt. So you talk about coming from bowling roots. And her dad is an American, so he knew all about Vanderbilt. The high academic standards of the Commodores. Commodores, by the way, are an SEC school, but they bowl in the Southland Bowling League, along with Arkansas State, who was here, Sam Houston State, La Tech, Monmouth, Stephen F. Austin, Tulane, and Valparaiso. A lot for 4 in a row. A 4-bagger for the Bearcats. Meanwhile, Katie Stark just steps up. Ho-hum, another strike.
She just keeps doing what she's doing. She hasn't had to make many moves.
Wow.
Just make sure to keep all the fundamentals in check. Once you step on the approach, I'm going to do my job, and that's exactly what she's been doing.
You know, it almost gets to the point with Katie where you say, well, why make her bowl? I mean, just put a strike down. Look at the anchor comparison now. Clemmer closing it out. McKendree, touch of class. Strikes in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and now the first one here in the 10th.
Best way to finish up a match and lock it up.
And that'll do it. McKendree will take the all-important Game 5 here. And the Bearcats need only one more to defend their national championship. There was a 3-pin difference through 5 frames. And McKendree has strung together 6 straight strikes. We have a 258 possible. That's some good bowling.
I think it's going to be very interesting when they make the move to this right lane, which looks like it's transitioning. Their first few frames, because they put a lot of pressure on Vanderbilt.
Well, Vandy now will be in a must-win situation in Game 6, as McKendree will take a 3-2 lead into the next game. That one didn't matter. That's the best time to get a split. So a 255 for McKendree. I don't care if it's Baker or individual, however, 255 is awesome.
Great game, and it also shows the mental toughness of that 10th frame. When she steps up, it was pure confidence right off her hand.
Well, a 203 for the Commodores. That's pretty good, but they got waylaid. 255 to 203. A 3-2 lead for McKendree. They need one more to defend their championship. Come back for Game 6 in just a moment. A 3-2 lead. Shannon O'Keefe, her team needs just one more game to defend their national title. She had a pretty long meeting in between Game 5 and Game 6 to talk about the conditions over here on the right lane. It'll be Sam Gaynor leading things off for the Commodores. That got wide and never came back.
They shot 233 on this lane. Last game, made some really quality shots towards the end of the game to just lock it up. It's going to be do or die now. They have to make, if they feel like they have to make an adjustment, they need to make it immediately. The feedback needs to be, what changes have to be made at the moment, because they have to, they're going to have to win, you know, must win situation. I was going to say have to win, must win situation.
For Vanderbilt, yes. By the way, I added up all the scores from the first 5 games. And if it was total pins, which it's not, it's each game individually. Here's Gaynor going for the spare. Yeah, got it. It's 1,080 for McKendree, 1,016 for Vanderbilt. That is less than a 13 pin per game average. So it's been tight. And there's the spare for Willie. Sarah Willie. Head out on the pro tour after she graduates as a member of Team USA this last year, along with her coach, Shannon O'Keefe. That had to be fun.
The leadoff bowlers have only had, I believe, 2 opens,
Yeah,
one each, which is great for a leadoff bowler. Consistent, good count, and/or strike. So that's what you're looking for out of your leadoff bowler.
And that's 2 now that have gone wide of the target for Vanderbilt. That's got to tell them something.
That wasn't a very good shot off her hand. I don't think she liked it either. You could see where her ball just never picked up. It didn't look like she caught it at the end. Just bad shot.
Now Taylor Bailey. Mixed it up. An early 3-pin lead for the Bearcats.
Definitely moved a little deeper on this lane, and she's able to get it further right because of that rotation. Ball picks up right at the end and gets that light mixer. Shannon's a little excited.
Woohoo! Focused.
That light hit's been key for both teams.
You're right. And claw covers another spare.
Right now, Vanderbilt is going to have to control the nerves because of the situation they are in right now, which they can do. They've bowled great all weekend. They need to control the nerves. And as Coach had said, stay in the moment, one shot at a time. Don't get ahead of them. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Rigney, by the way, had an open frame, her very first frame, and has had a mark in every frame since. Oh, now leaves the bucket. 3, 5, 6, 9.
I think that's the first time her balls come in that light.
Yeah. Okay. What happens when the 9 won't go?
That's the 4th one on that lane.
Yeah, why?
We saw him quick. Pin
What
goes right
happens here?
around it there. As you can see, drives right to the right of it. Ball. You know, there was one shot, and too bad we didn't get on replay, where the ball actually hit the 9 pin and took it out.
What a good conversion for Rigney. And a spare for McKendree. So Lauren Pate comes through in the 3rd. And right now a 7-pin lead for the Bearcats in a must-win game for the Commodores. Here comes Katie Strike. Katie start. Well, she's got 9 strikes in this game, or in this match, I should say. And that's the first time she hasn't had a strike since she fouled.
She made a move on that lane. She actually looks a little inside of her target. She was playing a little bit further left. Of course, they've been waiting too. So you got to make sure to keep that ball speed up.
Jessica Malott. And the spare for Stark, but look at Malott's shot.
And if I'm not mistaken, she's moved right on this lane, amped up her ball speed a little bit, playing it a little bit more like Lauren Pate.
Now Maria Bolanova. They're telling me that the way we pronounce Maria Sharapova, the tennis player, is actually wrong. It should be Sharapova.
And this is because
Bolanova.
I like it. We're in a must-strike situation to get it rolling.
Oh, there it is.
Maria has a better reaction when she doesn't get the ball as far to the right. She rolled that one more off her hand too, even though she got a lot of axis rotation. She didn't, the other shot earlier, she just grabbed it, got around it just a little bit more. Great shot.
Clemmer got out there, and the 10 stays. Clemmer, by the way, on the junior Team USA last 5 years running. She was named the most outstanding bowler of last year's championships. All smiles right now for Shannon. Her team with a 9-pin lead. She'd love to wrap it up here in Game 6. And the spare in the 5th. So we go to the 6th frame, but first a break. A 9-pin lead for the Bearcats. If they win this game, they win their 2nd straight NCAA Women's Bowling Championship. We'll be back with the conclusion of Game 6 in a moment. Right now it's a 9-pin lead as we go to the 6th frame of the 6th game. Vanderbilt can take a lead with another strike right here.
Coming out of break, needs to make sure she's firm enough. And as I say that, she goes 2-4-5. But that's one of the hardest shots to throw is when you're coming out of that break because you've been sitting. you know, your mind tends to wanders. You get to thinking. So it's about just making sure that you keep doing what you've been doing, but make sure you're aggressive.
Really, she made the adjustment. Remember the last ball she crossed over, gave it more room.
Nice shot, playing the lanes just like Brianna. They can read the lanes off of each other, so the moves are easy to make because you can read it.
Another spare for Gaynor. She's been very solid. Only one open frame, her first.
What you've noticed too with the McKendree team, the girls, all the girls have a lot of axis rotation off their hand. Again, great fundamentals. Both teams do, but I'm just referring to them right now because they do seem to have a little bit more axis rotation, able to make the moves off of each other, which is key, especially in the Baker format.
They take a lot from their coach, Shannon O'Keefe, and her husband, Brian O'Keefe. Good shot from Kristen Quah. Vanderbilt says we're not going down without a fight.
Absolutely not. And if anybody can get it started, it's Quah. Right here. Actually, she looks like she's playing the left lane. How Brianna and so we're playing the right lane. Which is, if we go to another game, she needs to remember that, making that move to the right lane.
Taylor Bailey leaving the 10-pin. Bailey has not had, I don't know if I should say it, but I'm going to say it. She has not had an open frame all night long. Now I hope that she makes it. I'm not rooting, but I hate to have an announcer jinx. Thank you, Taylor.
You're in the clear.
Whew. And it remains a 9-pin lead for McKendree. But again, if Emily Rigney can put a strike on the board here, it'll be 2 in a row for Vanderbilt, and they'll have a 1-pin lead.
And we talked about this earlier, how important that the two lefties will be, backing that up before the 10th frame in the 8th and the 9th.
That was a good shot. And Vanderbilt takes the lead.
Little shaker 5-10 there, keeping the ball in play. It's been their best hit.
A little bit high for Lauren Pate.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think Lauren has either struck or left 2 4-pins. I think that's what, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to go. I shouldn't have said that without really checking, but gosh, I can't remember her shooting at anything else.
Yeah. Very first frame of the first game, she had a split. But other than that, you're right.
Yeah. 4-9. There you go.
So she's used to making that one.
Yes.
That's automatic.
But she has been the one, like I've said, you know, I'm reiterating, her line, her break point has been really the guide on that McKendree team, and they've all been able to play off of that. Not only that, they make adjustments really quick.
Now, Katie Stark. Another good shot. I think she has been the Commodores' best bowler here overall tonight.
She's been able to make that light hit work. Comes in just a little half pocket. No shaker that time.
That looked good from the hand. That looked good as soon as it left Jessica Malot's hand.
The key here, 3 of those girls moved further right on this lane. It got a little tricky playing in, and they have figured out how to get that carry.
7-pin for a lefty, the same as the 10 for a righty. No problem for Katie Stark. Oh, here we go. 10th frame. 1-pin lead for Vanderbilt. But McKendree has a strike in the 9th. And look at the comparison between these two. It's pretty much dead even. Just 2 more strikes for Clemmer is the only difference.
This is a must-strike situation.
And she knows it. And she did strike. Talk about a pressure bowler in the 10th frame.
Great shot. Look at that focus. Again, fantastic follow through, rotation off her hand. Made the adjustment. She struck in the 5th. Great shot for that team.
Clemmer, though, coming off a strike in the 9th. How about that for an answer? Wow!
Looks like she does every 10th frame except I believe once. Right there, keeps the ball just a little bit more in front of her. Again, followed her teammates and following this, the way the lanes were transitioning. Instead of moving left, she moved back to the right. Not getting around it as much. High
Another
flush.
must strike for Bolanova. And she does it again.
That could be the most confident she has looked on the lanes throwing those 2 shots. Right here, doing what she needed to do to keep her team in the match.
A strike here, though, by Brianna Clemmer. And McKendree will be your champion. Nope. So it looks like, well, it depends on if how many of those pins she gets, but if she gets them all, then 6 pins, right, for Bolanova to force a game 7. That'll do it. She only needed 6. Didn't matter really what Clemmer was going to do. And Vanderbilt has forced a game 7.
Definitely watching the best in collegiate bowling right here between these 2 teams.
So Clemmer looking at this, and as Vanderbilt huddles, a game 7 upcoming. Good conversion, but again, she needed that strike on the second ball to close things out. Instead, it's Vanderbilt behind Maria Bolanova. They come through to force a game 7. Well, how good has this been? The 2018 NCAA Women's Bowling Championship from Tropicana Lanes in St. Louis, Missouri, with Hall of Famer Carolyn Dorian Ballard and Dave Armstrong. We're so glad to have you here, and we have gone as far as we can go. So Shannon O'Keefe and her Bearcats trying to win back-to-back national titles. Start off on the left lane with Sarah Willie, who gets tapped with the 9.
Okay, it's the 9 pin. That's the 5th one, I believe, right?
Yep, that's right. I think there's glue on the bottom of that pin.
3 on the right lane, 2 on the left. But that's a great shot to start with. Good read on the lane. This obviously is for the championship.
Gainer got out there. Ooh, washed out. Got a mess here.
Got that one way out to about 3-4. Just never hooked back. We had seen the 3 girls on McKendree. Moved a little further right on that right lane, kept it a little more in front of them. So they need to learn off of this shot.
What are the odds of making this?
Oh, it's makeable.
Yeah.
Just need to hit to the left, you know,
Right.
left of the head pin, near the 2 pin, and
Got a chance. Wow!
not easy to make, but wow. Picture perfect on that one, wasn't it?
That's like 9 and a spare, but even better because it really fires up your team.
Not what I want to shoot at in the championship match, by the way.
Did you see John Williamson in the background? Like, how did she do that? What a pick-me-up for the Commodores. Bailey got a little bit outside.
Didn't look like she could have that one as clean as she had been.
Didn't have the
Which caused it not to
rotation,
pick
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Just
Now a chance for Qua. Give Vanderbilt an early lead. And she does.
so not only is she rock solid in biomechanics or engineering or whatever it is, she's come through on the lanes.
Biomedical
Biomedical. There I was
and
close.
electrical engineering. 2 of the easiest majors out there. I mean, come on. Seriously, and with a 3.95 GPA, well, there's a spare for Bailey. By the way, McKendree had the option, and they chose the left lane because they rolled a 255 on it a couple of games ago. Lauren Pate. And she's been in that pocket all night long.
Pate's been my gal from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I think she has had the most consistent look. She has not had to move on the lane very little. Just a little bit to the right in the start on this right lane. Just been rock solid.
Rigney doubles up for the Commodores.
And right now, I don't think anybody cares how they go down. You could see she stood right up after she let it go. She missed way right.
They like to use the phrase no pictures on the scorecard in golf, no pictures on the score sheet in bowling either.
No, and talking earlier to both coaches, it's shots like that where they say they've really worked mentally on saying, okay, you know what, shot over. Think about your next one. It can't do anything about it.
Jessica Malott. Oh. Just wouldn't knock out the 4. Boy, it came close, though.
Yes, it did. Did not look like a bad shot off her hand. Came up a little high, leaving the 4-10 makeable split, which would be a spare.
3 in a row, and the Commodores have taken the lead. And 10 strikes for Katie Stark.
Katie rock solid in that position in the 9th frame to set up her anchor bowler.
Ooh. That was close for Jessica Malott. Well, now the Bearcats, they have some catching up to do, down 37 through 4 frames.
This, for everybody who's watching at home, great thing to practice again. See how she was getting ready to take her shot, came off the lane to double check with coach where she was going to play.
Well, that's one to get them started, the Bearcats. Brianna Clemmer. You remember when they rolled that 255, they closed out that game from the 6th frame on with nothing but strikes. We will not break in the middle of this game. We're going to stay with it right through the conclusion. We don't want to break their pace.
How nervous do you think he is? I know how nervous Josie is.
Josie is assistant coach. Josie Barnes, former 2-time All-American. And another strike.
Another strike. And here, this is what I want. This, you know, every time I commentate, I just want every high school bowler and youth bowler to just take this all in and go,
yes.
Practice this.
Yes.
Make sure you practice with a purpose when you go.
Yes.
But that right there was all about being mentally prepared for that shot.
Well, it might be the last ball she rolls as a collegiate. Sarah Willie with a strike in the 6th to make it 2 in a row for the Bearcats.
And a fantastic leadoff bowler. Never gives up the 1-3. And each one of these girls bowling tonight, fantastic spare shooters. And again, a lot of their practice sessions are simply spare shooting.
4 in a row for Vanderbilt. And now Samantha Gaynor. Commodores right now with a 37-pin lead. John Williamson, Josie Barnes smiling right now, but they know it's not over. That's her best shot. Best shot of the night, and 5 in a row for the Commodores.
Made the adjustment, did not get that ball right, kept it much more in front of her, made sure she got around it just enough. Right here, not getting it right of 9. Remember, we've talked about that all night. Some of the straighter players like Pate getting right, doing the 10 to 6. Great adjustment, and it paid off.
Bailey got to mix them up and leaves the 10-pin.
Good shot coming in light. Fantastic game. I mean, just look at that leverage. Boy, if I could take a picture of that. Light shaker, almost left the 7-10. Just the 10 standing.
Whoa, whoa, let's redo that.
That makes me nervous. I could never stop in the middle of my approach. I couldn't do it.
Like watching a golfer stop in the middle of a backswing.
But again, doesn't have the right feel.
Yep.
Holds on to the ball. Ooh.
Tiger Woods is the one guy on the tour that does that more than anybody.
A little bit of a balk.
So to spare, but Bearcats need to string them all together now, trailing by 48. You know, I think back to Maria Balanova. Remember she had that split in the 10th frame in game 3 and it cost him game 3? Well, she bounced back in that last game and got 2 strikes to start that 10th frame when they needed it most, and they came back to win it. That's the courage of an anchor bowler. Well, that stops the string, but what a string of 5 in a row for
Looked like her hand was sweating, which is why she stopped right here. Didn't quite catch as much as she had. Got lucky to leave 8. The little light shaker.
But right now, if you're
little
Vanderbilt,
bit easier to
fill
make.
frames, right? I mean, put all
absolutely.
the pressure on McKendree. Make them strike out. Don't leave the door ajar.
And first of all, there's pressure. They are a little nervous. I mean, this is new to them. Lanes are changing. There's so many factors where they just got to step back and breathe. Really, it sounds so simple.
Pull home another spare for Kristen Quah. She never misses spares. Amazing. Well, here's Lauren Pate.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say she's going to hit the 1-3.
She has all night.
And
And there it is again, and just leaves the 10 pin with a good ball.
And this left lane is really the one that's been the one that winds up being tricky.
Yeah.
Although they did shoot 255 after making a big adjustment on this lane.
Emily Rigney. Yeah. That's what I mean about not leaving the door ajar. And the 2-4-7-10. If you're the Bearcats, it gives you some hope. But again, if Emily can pick this up.
It is a makeable split.
You just concentrate on the 2-4-7.
She's going to want, yep. She's got a chance. And she makes it.
Shot.
Wow. Right here, uses her spare ball, hits just to the left of the 2-pin. That almost is one of those aha moments where you say, it's just so meant to be. Look at this. I'd say they're a little excited.
That brought their coach, John Williamson, to his feet.
And he smiled.
Yeah. Jessica Malott, like Sarah Willie, 2 seniors, close out their careers with strikes.
And I'm not sure I used this word tonight, but athleticism out of every single one of these bowlers tonight is what you see. This is how far collegiate bowling has come with how they train both on and off the lanes.
Katie Stark. Again, filling frames. Makeable spare, the 4-7. If they don't have an open frame, there's no way the Bearcats can come back. Okay. For my money, Katie Stark might be the MVP of the team. The way she bounced back after falling down, getting stuck, having that foul, and then bouncing back with 7 straight strikes. A little bit high for Brianna Clemmer. You can see the disappointment now for the Bearcats, the defending champs. They won. That'll do it. Vanderbilt. That puts them mathematically ahead of the Bearcats and the Commodores, who had to beat Sam Houston State in a runoff in the semifinals just to get to the finals, and then trailed 3 games to 2 for the defending champs.
And this is where both coaches, Coach John and Coach Josie, both said our girls are better in Baker format than they are individually because they always come together. And this was proof right here.
So congratulations to John Williamson and the Commodores, their first championship since 2007. When it doesn't matter.
I'm sure she was shaking just a little bit from excitement, by the way.
Well, 220 finish.
Great shot.
And a 191 for McKendree. So congratulations to the Commodores of Vanderbilt, the 2018 NCAA Women's Bowling Champions. Congratulations once again to Vanderbilt University, your 2018 NCAA Bowling Champion. For Carolyn, Doran Ballard, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Armstrong.